This is the Rivals High School Football Show. Welcome in. Now, depending on what part of the country you are in, it is either week 1 or week 2. But regardless, high school football is back. Let's get into the top plays from the first week of action. At number 5, we have Nick Lanier. He had 4 catches, 50 yards. This one-handed touchdown catch. Watch this. He gets both feet in, defender hanging on him. In case NFL scouts were there, he made sure to get 2 in. Now, he had a clutch overtime one-handed catch last week to win the game. Nick Lanier, he is committed to Miami. At number 4, we have Caden Henderson. Wow. Caden Henderson playing special teams. He's a 5-star linebacker committed to Texas A&M, and he is playing special teams for Tampa Jesuit. Watch this hit he delivers here in a 37-0 Week 1 win over Special Fit Academy. All right, let's move on to number 3. We have Bryson Wright, 3 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown in a 34-0 win over MacArthur. He also had an interception on the first play of the game, the first play of the season. What? One-handed in the end zone, down the sideline. Bryson Wright is unbelievable. He's uncommitted. Let's go to number 2. We have Quentin Hale. Overall, what a dog. 8 catches, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns on his way to leading Centennial to a 41-21 win over Servite. But this one-handed catch is unbelievable. Bailing his quarterback out, making the play, climbing the ladder, going up and doing whatever it takes. Quentin Hale, he's staying home. He's committed to USC. All right, at number 1, David Gabriel George's 250 all-purpose yards, 172 on the ground, 78 rushing, and he scored 3 touchdowns, but nothing represents David Gabriel George more than this run here. He shows the explosive speed, he shows the power, he shows the balance. He is everything you could want in a high school prospect. Baylor School goes on to beat rival Brentwood Academy. There will be more I have a feeling we're going to see more from David Gabriel George this season, but this was the number 1 play in the Rivals countdown. All right, now let's take a look at these Rivals composite rankings. We're going to bring in Andy Villamarzo here, our high school expert at Rivals. And Andy, no surprise to see IMG Academy up here at number 1.
Yeah, coming off the 59-3 win over Lone Peak. That was kind of their revenge game dating back to that Corner Canyon loss in 2024. Kind of mentioned that last week. They were looking to kind of get a little get back, and well, I think they did that with the 56-point win. So going into this week, they got a Cornerstone Christian down in Texas, a team that when you start to look at their roster when it comes to college prospects, really kind of pales in comparison to what the Ascenders have. So you could be looking at another game where IMG's kind of cruising like they did against Lone Peak.
Yeah, I think we're going to hear that pretty often this year. All right, then at number 2, we got St. Francis Academy, Bishop Gorman, Buford, and Carrollton round out the top 5. But the news of Buford landing 5-star, number 1 overall, Jalen Brewster. I mean, if these were power rankings, would Buford be number 1 right now?
I mean, not many times do you win a game on national television and you get to win something off the field. And not that Coach Appling probably set it up like that, but I mean, you get a 5-star prospect like Jalen Brewster coming into your, going to be on your roster moving forward. I mean, it's a pretty nice pickup, and you get to beat a Gainesville team 39-13 on the ESPN network. So I think they definitely will have a shot here in the early going with some of the games that they have here in Georgia, but a statement win to start the season and a huge transfer pickup to begin things off.
All right, the bottom half of the top 10 has a West Coast feel to it. At number 6, Modern Day, Santa Margarita, Duncanville, Texas, Thompson, Alabama, and Centennial out there in California as well. St. Thomas sitting there at number 11. Is that a little low for St. Thomas Aquinas?
I feel like that is a little low for the Raiders. I think coming off of winning 7 straight state championships, they're heading into this Broward County Classic, off a 43-0 win against Western. They beat Cardinal Mooney in the preseason 49-0. They are absolutely loaded across the board. You think of Mark Matthews, the Texas A&M commit. Probably first guy, Julius Jones, Notre Dame commit, Zayden Gamble, another Fighting Irish pledge. I mean, it seems loaded. And when you look at the coaching, the tradition there, I feel like they should be a top 10 team. But if they beat DeSoto the way I think they possibly can, I know we'll get to that. I think they'll be in that top 10.
Yeah, we will be talking more St. Thomas Aquinas here shortly. All right, you look at the rest of the top 20. There are some big name programs. You got East St. Louis Baylor School at 16, Chaminade-Madonna Prep at 18, DeSoto at 19. Which of these teams outside of the top 10 could easily find themselves inside the top 10 in a couple weeks?
I think the team that could make their way in is Chaminade-Madonna, just because you look at the game this week on Thursday night against Sierra Canyon. You're talking about one of the top teams out in California, and it's going to be strength for strength when you look at Sierra Canyon's defensive line, and then you look at Chaminade's offense led by 2028 four-star quarterback Brady Quinn and crew. I think this is a great opportunity for the Lions in front of a national audience to be able to take on one of California's top teams, and then you get a win there. The rest of the season, I mean, they have games against American Heritage, St. Thomas Aquinas. They go through that South Florida high school football gauntlet. I mean, if they can win all those games, they should be inside of that top 15 sooner rather than later.
All right, you guys, let me know what you think of this top 20, top 25 here as we get into the high school season. Agree, disagree? Let us know in the comment section below. It is picks and prediction time. We are going to highlight 5 games, one of them being the Rivals game of the week. Stay tuned for that one. And we're going to get your preview and prediction. Andy, we're also going to have Greg Biggins in because he is going to be on the sideline of that Santa Margarita Corona Centennial game out in California. So Biggins will join us shortly, but let's start. East St. Louis versus Plantation American Heritage. That one is Friday night, Heritage Stadium in Plantation, Florida. Now, East St. Louis coming off a big win over Mount Carmel last week. Heritage, they look to bounce back after losing to West Boca. Let's take a look at the prospect matchup here. What about these top prospects? How does this tell the story of Friday night's game?
Well, I think the biggest news going into Friday night's game is the loss of Myson Johnson-Cook with a season-ending injury for East St. Louis. You're talking about one of the top running backs in the country, an Auburn commit, and I got to see him last year against Bergen Catholic over at Battle at the Beach in Ocean City, New Jersey, and I thought he was one of the best running backs I got to cover in any game last year, just being in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, a lot of these just East Coast states. And just the loss of him definitely is going to impact them. But, I mean, going up against an American Heritage team that last week lost 24-7, Neiman Lawrence, a Texas commit, I mean, and that offense just really struggled getting to talk to some people that were at that game. They're missing some of their offensive linemen that possibly may be out this Friday. So Lawrence may be kind of trying to figure things out. He's got guys to throw to. I mean, he's got tight end Tank Proctor, a Kentucky commit. He's somebody to keep your eye on. Michael Stringer, a Western Kentucky commit. He's somebody that's kind of been biding his time, waiting his turn behind all the great receivers that have been over at American Heritage. So now it's kind of his time to really shine. And just against a really good West Boca Raton defense, he just wasn't able to really get loose. But when you kind of flip it back over to East St. Louis, Ronnie Go Miller, he was somebody that was huge in that Mount Carmel win. He scored 4 touchdowns for the Flyers, and I think his name is one that you have to go into this game really paying attention to. Florida commit, Rakeem Floyd on the defensive side of the ball. He's somebody that is going to hold it down on one side of the field, make it hard for Neiman Lawrence to really want to go and, scan the field, look both ways. He's going to probably think twice looking over Floyd's way. And I mean, hey, the Patriots got a Gator commit as well, and Amari Nugent. So you got a couple Gator commits. Definitely, I mean, hey, it's in Florida, so of course there'd be a Florida vibe to it. But with a team coming from Illinois, with Floyd coming down, it gives a little bit more to that with him being a Gator commit.
Yeah, really a star-studded matchup. Too bad Mason Johnson-Cook goes down with that collarbone. I know heading into the week, there's some talk of maybe him playing this week, but it looks like he's going to miss but at least the majority of the regular season. Maybe he's going to come back and play some. We'll see what happens there, but it is a big matchup. So let's get it. What is your prediction for East St. Louis versus American Heritage?
Well, I went ahead and made my predictions, for all these big games, and I'm going with East St. Louis. I believe that offensively, even without Myson Johnson Cook, Go Miller is going to be able to kind of have himself another big game. The concerns I have with American Heritage is if their offensive line can't hold up, Neiman Lawrence not having any kind of time in the pocket, being able to look for his receivers downfield. I mean, it kind of renders him useless. And if Neiman's not doing anything, hey, old adage, if you don't score, you don't win. So for the Patriots, that's going to be tough to do if Lawrence isn't upright and being able to throw touchdowns for them.
The next one we're going to highlight is Bishop Gorman versus Columbus. Now, this one is going to go down on Saturday, 2 p.m. from Brian Piccolo Memorial Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And Bishop Gorman, they're feeling good, and they should be feeling good. Beating St. Bosco last week. Columbus, on the other hand, they took care of Miami Southridge 45-7. So both teams coming in, and here's a look at the prospect matchup. Boy, are they loaded. Some of the most exciting players in America are starring on both sides. What does the prospect matchup tell you about this game?
I feel like when you look at Bishop Gorman's roster of talent, when you're looking at the prospects, I feel like it definitely leans their way. Even though you look over at Columbus and you see Amir Sears, the five-star 28, I know he would listen and say, hey, wait a minute. But, I mean, he might be the best player on the field, but Bishop Gorman would have the best roster going into this game. I feel just looking at their team, I mean, Ace Amina, the 4-star quarterback, he's a 28 kid. I mean, coming off the 4-touchdown performance against St. John Bosco, winning that game 38-28. And at times, I think that was pretty much at hand. I mean, they were up 21-0 going into halftime. Amina ended up winning the starting job, which triggered the backup Chance Thomas to transfer across the country, basically over to Loudon Sports Academy in Virginia. So, but you just kind of look at this roster and say it's like a who's who of guys that have kind of transferred in with Hayden Stepp there at cornerback. You're looking at Zyron Minor at wide receiver. That would be one of Amina's top targets. So really just going down the line and looking at this roster of the guys that, I mean, this is one of the best in the country. And for Columbus, I mean, they've looked good here in the early going between the preseason and the regular season opener. But, I mean, everything starts with Amir. I mean, playing receiver, playing wherever they need him in the secondary. A lot of comparisons are being thrown out there with him and Travis Hunter. I've seen him once play, for West Broward last year in the state championship. And I don't think he had as much talent as he has around him now. Looking at Kai Moore at quarterback, Northern Illinois commit.
Is that ranking, Andy? Is that ranking here a little deceptive? 1,594. But when you talk about high school quarterbacks, Kai Moore is a dog out there, and maybe, NIU commitment, people might overlook that. But when you talk about high school quarterbacks, I mean, Kai Moore can get it done, can't he?
Absolutely. I mean, he was getting it done at Miami Norland. He was somebody that was really putting up some big numbers for them. So my expectations, and so far, just through one game, I mean, he's really looked good for them. So I feel like with Sears there at receiver, he obviously has his best pass catcher he's ever had to throw to in his time playing Florida high school football. So and their team is just. I would say this roster is really flipped over the offseason. I mean, you're talking about a team that finished below the 500 mark from last year. So really looking at it top to bottom, I mean, a much improved team under head coach Dave Dunn. And you look at athlete Secure Torre. He's somebody that's getting looked at by Penn State and Rutgers. So going into this game, he's somebody that could obviously be a playmaker. I mean, the Explorers and Gaels, I feel like on paper, you just lean towards Bishop Gorman because of who they've already played, kind of the history, the championships. They're always on that national level. Columbus, they're always knocking on the door of being like a top 10 team in Florida. But if they could make a statement, if Sears and company really kind of takes this challenge head on, hey, you never know. Any given Saturday, I guess, right?
All right, Andy, you got me pumped. Give me your prediction. Bishop Gorman versus Columbus High School. Who you got?
Well, I said all that to say that I'm going with Bishop Gorman. I feel like the Gaels are just absolutely loaded. I know some outlets have them as the number one team in the country. In the Composite, they're a top 5 team nationally. Just really looking at this game, I mean, honestly, it should be a 2-3 score game if Bishop Gorman really comes out clicking on all cylinders. But I mean, you can't ever underestimate having a player like Amir Sears on the field for Columbus. Watch out for him and what kind of playmaking difference maker he might be on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, he is one of those guys that can take over a game all by himself. So you guys let me know who you taking. Put it in the comments section below. All right, let's move on to Sierra Canyon versus Chaminade-Madonna. This one, another one in the state of Florida on a Thursday night. Hollywood, Florida is where all the action's going down. You got the 9-time Florida high school state champions, Chaminade-Madonna Lions, taking on California Power. Chatsworth, Sierra Canyon, the Trailblazers are coming to Florida. And this one is star-studded. Here's the prospect matchup, especially loaded in the trenches. Does the prospect matchup tell the story here, Andy?
I feel like it's a tale of kind of two different teams when you're looking at who they have on their team. I mean, when you look at Chaminade-Madonna, you're thinking of offensively. I mean, one of the best offensive groups in the state of Florida. I mean, I feel like everything starts with Brady Quinn, the 2028 4-star quarterback, not committed anywhere, but he's got a couple of receivers in Amari Stevens and Tremont Isaac who really make up probably one of the best tandems in the state. I mean, Stevens a LSU commit and Isaac still up in the air, but I mean, all those 3 guys really are the names that I feel like people got to keep an eye on when you're watching the Lions. And then you flip over to Sierra Canyon and you just focus on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
5-star Ohio State commit Marcus Fakatu. He's obviously somebody that he's going to be creating pressure, getting after Quinn, really just trying to get him off platform and trying to get him on off schedule throws. So really watching him. Kale Curry, he's another one, a 4-star defensive lineman for Sierra Canyon. He's somebody that joins him and creating this just one of the best defensive lines in the country. Really looking at them and saying this defense is what could be the difference against Chaminade-Madonna's offense. So you're really going strength for strength and looking at the star power. I feel like it's pretty even when you look at both teams' rosters of prospects. I don't think it's like Bishop Gorman and Columbus where you feel like you're leaning one way. With looking at Sierra Canyon and Chaminade-Madonna, you see the kind of the similar amount of star power. And looking at the players on both sides, I feel like this is probably one of your most even matchups of the entire Broward County Classic High School Football Showcase.
All right, guys. It is time. Let's get your prediction. Who do you like in this contest?
Well, I'm going with Sierra Canyon. They say defense wins championships, and even though I may be somebody that's out of the Sunshine State, I feel like this team coming out of California and Sierra Canyon features just one of the best defensive line units. Named a couple of those top defensive linemen that they have that are going to be getting after Chaminade-Madonna. I feel like that's going to be the difference maker because when you look at games like this, defenses really kind of begin to take over. And last year, Chaminade faced St. Francis Academy in the Broward County Classic, and it was the Panthers' defensive line that really kind of just took over that game. And you look over at Chaminade's offense, and it really wasn't able to get going. So if the Trailblazers kind of follow that blueprint a little, I think they'll they'll possibly come away with a similar result.
All right, you guys, you got a great team from California heading to Florida to play Chaminade-Madonna. You guys let me know your score predictions. Put it in the comment section below. All right, let's get it set for the Rivals game of the week. It's DeSoto versus St. Thomas Aquinas, Saturday, 6 p.m. for Brian Piccolo Memorial Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. St. Thomas Aquinas opened the 26th season with a 43-0 rout of Davie, and Lone Star State powerhouse DeSoto, they head to Florida in what could be, Andy, one of the best high school football games of the season. And if the prospect matchup doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. They got some really high-ranked prospects playing in this one. Even, I mean, just across the board, some of the schools that these guys are committed to: Texas Tech, Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Ohio, the list goes on. So what does this prospect matchup tell you about the game?
Just the depth of St. Thomas Aquinas. I mean, really looking at their team, top to bottom. I mean, you got kind of a who's who in South Florida when it comes to talent. I mean, everything starts on the offensive line. Yeah. I know we usually talk about quarterbacks. We talk about the sexy positions, but it all starts with Mark Matthews, the five-star Texas A&M commit. Just kind of seeing if he ends up matching up with the Texas Tech defensive lineman commit and Kadrian Redmond. I mean, that would be interesting if they kind of move him around on that defensive line. Obviously, everything kind of returns offensively when you look at DeSoto and Sherrod Baker, another Texas Tech commit, rushed for around 3,000 yards last year. He's somebody that everybody's kind of watching for. He had a spectacular run in a scrimmage recently. So for me, it would be my first time seeing him in person. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do against this St. Thomas Aquinas defense. With you got Wyatt Smith, an Ohio State commit, Zayden Gamble at safety. He's a Notre Dame pledge. It's a really deep roster for the Raiders, offensively, defensively. I mean, heck, I didn't even mention Julius Jones. And when you think about the game's most important position at quarterback, I mean, it's somebody people may have not really heard of in Cody Kness. He's a southpaw, and this will be his first time playing, as a starter in the Classic. He's going in his senior season, really looking to leave his mark. And I know they got a couple other quarterbacks that you never know. I mean, things get hairy. They may switch them out, but flipping over to DeSoto again, just I feel like with their roster, everything really focuses around Baker and his talents. So I think looking at what the Eagles are going to have to lean on, it's going to be riding him and seeing where he takes them.
Yeah. All right. Time is now. Give us your prediction for the Rivals game of the week. Are you taking DeSoto High School or St. Thomas Aquinas?
I'm rolling with the Raiders. I'm going with the team, the home team. I know it's been tough for them in recent years. In playing Mater Dei last year, they lost that game. The year before, they played Bishop Gorman. They had lost in that matchup. I feel like this time around against DeSoto, this is kind of a historic matchup when you're looking at Texas and Florida. I mean, many people can't even remember the last time a Texas high school football team traveled down to Broward or Dade County. So with DeSoto coming over to Aquinas, playing in this Classic, you're going to get the vibes. You're going to get some of the best, crowd environment of the entire week. So if you're somebody that's looking for that and just some good high quality high school football, this is the game to be at.
This is some good high quality high school football. You guys get in the comments section who you taking, DeSoto or St. Thomas in the Rivals game of the week. Let us know. The next big game on our slate is Santa Margarita versus Corona Centennial. Friday night, Husky Stadium, Corona, California. Santa Margarita Catholic, they opened the season with a solid 27-0 win over Orlando Jones High School with Carson Palmer's son at the helm. Fletch Palmer is his name, getting the nod over Vanderbilt three-star commit Matthew Smith. Now, Centennial opened the season against Servite, and Quentin Hale led the way in a huge victory, 41-21. Now, let's take a look at the prospect matchup. Greg Biggins here breaking it down with me. Greg, does the prospect matchup tell the story here?
It does not. No, because, and this isn't a slight at Centennial, with Santa Margarita. I talked to two coaches from some of the California Power programs. They both said this Santa Margarita coaching staff is probably the best they've seen in a long time. And you see a lot of NFL coaches come back to high school and don't have a lot of success, but Carson and that whole staff, Kenny O'Brien doing quarterbacks, Stephen Fita doing defense, they're better than what their personnel is, and their scheme and their coaching and development is incredible, and so is Centennial. But I say all that to say this: Centennial on paper might have more players that will play in college. Mm-hmm. They are injured right now. Jaden Walker-Green, big time UW committee's out for a while. A few other offensive linemen are out for a while. But they probably still have more talent on paper. Yeah. But SM, because they're so well coached, man, they're really tough to scheme and beat.
All right, the moment is here. We need your prediction. Who are you taking, Santa Margarita or Corona Centennial? Let us know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a tough one for me. I know you want a hard, fast answer. I'm leaning towards Santa Margarita, Josh. And obviously, I was there at the game last year when they played, and it was 42-7 for SM in the championship game. And I can't get that out of my head. And defensively, they just overwhelmed Centennial. And Centennial, Matt Logan are known as probably maybe the most innovative offense, and just in terms of the wide splits, up-tempo, fast-paced offense. But SM was dialed in, and they knew what they were doing. There was some really good game within the game matchups I'm kind of curious about. Quent Hill, Karan Williams. I would love to see Karan kind of shadow him all over the field. You mentioned Fletch Palmer. He knows that offense really well. Obviously, his pops is the head coach. I think people were surprised by him getting the job, wondering if that was a daddy ball kind of a thing. I think Fletch is pretty good. That offense is really, really good, really efficient, and you could put a lot of guys back there because the offense is so good. They're going to make plays. But I lean toward SM. I think they're tough. They're physical up front. Again, well coached, well schemed. It's going to be a good game. But right now, I kind of lean toward the Eagles.
All right, you guys, the big old California high school football fans, you got a great one on Friday night. Who you taking, Centennial or Santa Margarita? Let us know in the comments below.